Hi, I'm Pox.
I'm Couchguy.
We're watching the Two Smart Guys show, where every week we bring you the latest tech news, mods, hacks, and general interesting topics that we like.
Yeah. And you have an update on a hack.
Yeah, quick thing about a hack. We haven't touched on hacks much lately since the beginning of the year. A lot of questions about the Wii U. Can you do the newest update that makes it speedy and zippy and all around a better system without breaking the Wii hack that allows you to run homebrew and old ISOs and things?
Yeah,
yes.
You don't want to break it when
if you follow the tutorial I did in December, you can. I did an update yesterday. It worked fine.
So as long as you're following the one the exact hack that you have, you didn't break.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still able to go in, play backups, everything. So
perfect.
So
tonight's show is brought on by. I was been watching a whole lot of the keynotes going on with Adobe Max, and the announcement went out this week that Adobe will no longer be offering the disk-based software for sale. You're not going to be able to buy a physical disk. You're going to have to buy their subscription to get Adobe products, which got me thinking, how do people feel about the subscription-based services in this way? Because there was a huge backlash on some of the online forums about how they didn't like this idea. And I'm not opposed to it. I like the idea of it, but I'm curious what you think. Because for me, in some ways, it's not that much different than buying movies instead of getting a Netflix subscription. Because Netflix is, where the movies are at. Why would you buy a DVD? But Pox brought up a good point. That Netflix recently lost, what was it? How many did they lose? 1,500 titles or something like that?
I think a few months ago it was like 1,500 titles, and then just like a couple weeks ago it was like 3,000 titles. They lost their Stars deal. It was up.
They lost their MGM deal, and they lost another deal. WB is the only one that they got. Anyway, the point of the fact is that you're paying for a service, you're expecting a certain number of things, but in some ways Netflix can be kind of unreliable, and I don't think it's a problem for me with subscription-based things. I still enjoy my Netflix and things like that, but in light of the fact that I'm and you will probably be forced into Creative Cloud service if you want any Adobe products, that includes any of their Photoshop, Lightroom, things like that. How do you feel it would be impactful for myself? And I think Pox shares the idea, is that, to stay updated for what really feels like a minimal amount to me. I don't feel, upset about it. $50 a month isn't painful for professional software to pay. I know that IT, I don't know if you've ran into this, Pat, too much, but I know some IT software, you have to pay a license agreement every year to be able to maintain the software.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. There's license agreements like that, but yeah, it's just interesting that they had the option last year where you could buy the boxed version for, depending on which particular boxed version, anywhere from $700 for just Photoshop to thousands of dollars for the whole Creative Suite.
Yeah.
Now you can only get it, or from this point on, after 6, you will only be able to get it through subscription.
As of, I think it's July. I'm not positive of but if you want the newest update,
they said so
6 will be the last software they make. So whatever they have in the shelf, that's it. And once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever would theoretically have been 7, which we were talking about how they're going to do it now, probably won't be. They won't wait to do a huge box set where all the things are ready. They'll probably release them.
It won't be one big release of everything new. They'll probably do little updates and do a major release, but you'll constantly have little feature updates all the time, and they may not release brand new things for each one of them. Who knows? Once it's subscription based, they don't have to. The rules change.
So the question is, do you think this? I mean, obviously they're doing this to cut down on piracy, because one of the biggest things for Photoshop is like the most pirated piece of software out there.
And Windows, and there's very few other pieces of software that are pirated as much as Adobe products.
Yeah. For $20 a month, would you pay that? I mean, instead of trying to go through the hassle of getting the crack and the, blocking the files that check on you and all that fun stuff. If you ever got into that sort of thing.
Well, and it's an interesting approach to say, I know that when you and I were students hundreds of years ago, that if we had access to professional software personally, it would have completely changed our viewpoint on how we did what we did, because I know that nonlinear editing wasn't really a major thing at that point, but to have access to that software for myself, not having to go to class to get it done, is one way, and they have a student discount and things like that. But I don't know. I think that, I'm curious, do you think we're going to see more subscription-based software for the consumer?
Microsoft's doing it.
Professionally.
They're doing it with their Office 360.
Yeah.
And so they're going by, paying. They have different levels of it, from $4 a month to $30 a month or whatever, instead of paying the $350 a year for whatever version.
And I think that's what we're finding, is we're finding software is deciding that if they want to really broaden their base, they need to take, and people say, well, it's no way it's the app version of phone stuff. It absolutely is. To go from paying $600 or $800 for Photoshop down to paying $20 a month is a considerably opening of the market for people who wouldn't be able to just plunk down $600 or $800. It's someone who can handle $20 a month, like your Netflix subscription.
Xbox is doing it. They have a $100 version of the Xbox that requires you get Xbox Live. You sign a contract saying, I will have Xbox Live at, I think it's $15 a month, which is higher than normal. So they're kind of, it's the same with cell phones. Cell phones are like $600, but they make you buy the contract service so you can get it for $200.
Anyway, I want to know, in the comments below, we want to know what your opinion is. Because do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Do you think that, what do you think the next piece of software that's really going to go for this is? Are we going to have to pay this for Windows? Is Windows 9 going to be a monthly subscription to be able to access our computer software? It's kind of an interesting landslide. Some companies are evil, or some companies are good, depending on your viewpoint.
Microsoft might have to do that. Their adoption rate for 8's not been that good.
Yeah, well, 8 wasn't really that great.
Well, that's up for
We
debate.
predicted 8 wasn't going to be that great because of the off-year cycle.
The off-year cycle, and the fact that they can't win. Because they could have either did a safe update to Windows 7 to make it a little bit better, but it wouldn't have been good enough. Or they had to try something drastic to really get people's attention, to really, kind of change it up and sell computers. And they tried that.
The question is, does Windows really have to try that hard to sell computers anymore?
They think it's going to be, the end of the desktop. No more PCs.
Well, and there's a whole bunch of other theories in that. We can take that up in a different show. We don't want to take the show tonight.
Which is the last thing to leave you with. What do you guys want to see on future shows?
We did have some comments in the last one, and thank you for those. Some of the hacks that you guys mentioned are, things that we've talked about doing. Some of them, our biggest concern with some of these hacks is we don't want to put a hack out that gets voided a week after we put it out. It's difficult for us with feedback to have all these negative responses because it's something we can't control. You catch the video 2 weeks late and suddenly it doesn't work anymore. Or it doesn't work by the time we even put it out.
But
so, patches.
Yeah.
Anyway,
please subscribe.
We want your comments. We like your comments.
Yeah, please subscribe to the feed. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you next week at twosmartguys.com here on the YouTube channel, or live show every Wednesday night at 8:30 Mountain Time at twosmartguys.com/live.
And you can always tweet me at Tommy5C, and you can get Pox at
Walking Crow.
All right.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.
This has been a Two Smart Guys production.